Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. You can follow me there. And folks, do you believe in miracles? The San Francisco 49ers, the most injured team in the NFL, moved to 4-1 with a huge overtime win against the LA Rams, 26-23. I just got back from the game. I'm still in my Bosa's jersey. I'm fired up, and I am very hoarse, as I'm sure you can tell. Today, we'll go over all the good, the bad, and the ugly from Week 5. But before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. So just as a heads up to you all, this is just my initial reaction from the game. I haven't had the chance to watch the game back, watch the All-22, really absorb and understand it as a whole. But what I can do is tell you what I saw live in SoFi Stadium, and I can give you my instant reactions from Thursday Night Football. First and foremost, my goodness, SoFi Stadium is gorgeous. I got there super early, and I just spent 90 minutes strolling around and enjoying the views. My view from my seat was fantastic. The roof and the giant jumbotron were insane. They were gorgeous. It was one of the best stadium experiences I've ever had. I was even able to find some pretty cheap beer, which is great. But most importantly, and I need to make this very clear, it was a 49ers home game on Thursday night. Conservatively, the crowd was 70% 49ers fans. And if I wanted to be, completely accurate, it was probably closer to 75%. There was a lot of red throughout that stadium. And the 49er faithful got loud in this one. Felt like nearly every drive, there were Niner chants breaking out. You had the classic, defense, defense. And then, of course, let's go Niners. There was a lot of those throughout the game, in all honesty, and plenty more. So SoFi Stadium is still Levi's South. Do not forget about it. We took over that stadium. The Niners broke a 3-game losing streak to the Rams in this one and have now beaten every single NFC West team in the first 5 weeks of the season alone. Going from 1-5 in the division last year to 3-0 this year to start is incredible. I cannot emphasize how impressive this turnaround has been. The Niners were without Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Malik Mustafa, Jawan Jennings, and Ben Barch in this game. That's 8 starters out of the lineup, and they walked into a division rival stadium on a short week and stole a win. Now, don't get me wrong. The Niners needed every single lucky bounce or lucky call to go their way. And it pretty much did. We talked about this in the preview. This game was going to have to get weird if the Niners wanted to win it. And weird it was. The Niners got away with a few huge mistakes by the refs. Felt like the Niners had like 3 big calls go their way. And the Rams had a bunch of little calls that all kind of added up. But at the end of the day, the Niners win an overtime thriller, 26-23, and sit atop the NFC West at 4-1. So let's get into the grades. And first and foremost, let's talk about the offense. Mac Jones, man, this guy, he has officially won me over. He had 33 completions on 49 passes, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no turnovers. The Niners are somehow winning games by leaning on Mac's arm and just letting it fly. The offense, it's so weird this year. Usually the 49ers are driven by their run game, but this year it's been the complete opposite. The passing game is the backbone of the offense right now. Every time they make a big play, it's through the air. And speaking of big plays, can we talk about Kendrick Bourne? He had one of the worst games of his career on Sunday, but 5 days later, he has the best game of his career. 10 catches for 142 yards for KB. He was always there when a play needed to be made. I can't tell you how many big conversions he had. Matt called his number over and over and over. Huge shout out to Bourne for turning his game around and having an absolute masterclass in this game. He was a huge reason the Niners were able to get the dub. Jake Tonjes also came down with 7 catches on 11 targets, which is kind of wild. He's definitely overtaken Farrell on the depth chart at tight end, but with George Kittle coming back, we'll see if Tonjes still gets involved. Demarcus Robinson had 3 nice grabs for 39 yards against his former team. He wasn't super involved, but he definitely did have an impact. And now I guess we have to talk about the run game. For as good as the passing game has been, the run game has been equally as bad. CMC only had 57 yards on the ground in this one, 2.6 yards per carry for McCaffrey, and it really felt like 2.6. As a team, the Niners were held to 2.2 yards per carry. That's pathetic. That is really, really bad. The Niners offense, it's completely one-dimensional right now. And it's a miracle that that's only cost them 1 game so far this year. They were so close to getting the first rushing touchdown of the season, but they just couldn't punch it in. I'm going to have to jump into the tape to really break down what's going on, but whatever it is, it's got to be figured out. And my gut is telling me that it's poor execution by the O-line, because there was no room whatsoever for the running backs tonight. None. Zilch. Brian Robinson didn't go anywhere. Kyle Juszczyk didn't go anywhere. Christian McCaffrey didn't go anywhere. But, all in all, the offense was moving the ball against a really good Rams defense, and I got to give them props. I'll say that this is a B grade for the offense. Passing game alone would probably be an A-, but the run game definitely brings it down a considerable amount. Now, let's talk about the defense. The 49ers defense gave up 389 yards and 3 touchdowns to Matthew Stafford. They gave up 120-plus total yards to Kyren Williams at nearly 5 yards a carry to the Rams as a whole. Both Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams went over 80 yards. But at the end of the day, it was the 49ers defense who ended the football game. That was the epitome of bend, don't break defense for the Niners in this one. There was a lot of bending and a little bit of breaking as well, too. But when it mattered most, Robert Saleh and the Niners tightened up in the red zone and stopped Kyren Williams short on 4th down and 1 to win the game. 4th and 1. The Rams run the ball well within field goal range. They absolutely could have tied the football game, but they wanted it all. They wanted the win. They ran the ball on 4th and 1, couldn't get it. And the Niners defense comes up clutch yet again. This is not a box score defense, right? This is not a flashy defense. This is not a stats defense. But you would be lying if you said that this defense wasn't any good. How poetic is it that the defense gets their 3rd game-winning play in only 5 weeks? Bosa had the game winner in Seattle. Huff had the game winner in New Orleans. And it's the run defense. That darn run defense, man. They cost the Niners so many games last year, but it's the run defense that comes up huge in this one to seal the victory. What an unbelievably gutsy and gritty performance from this defense. Can you imagine how good this team is going to be if they learn how to catch an interception? I swear to God, there were 2 throws that Stafford gave to the Niners on a silver platter. And the one that really sticks out to me was the one that D. Winters dropped. It was brutal. The Rams, instead of throwing an interception to D. Winters, punted the ball on that drive, and they pinned the Niners offense in the 2-yard line. If Winters had caught that pick, it would have been at the Rams' 30-yard line or so. That's nearly 70 yards of field position that they lost because of that drop. But man, if they can win without interceptions, I can't wait to see what they'll do when they do start getting interceptions. Bryce Huff got home on a sack early in the game on Stafford. I believe it was the first drive. And I thought the Niners did at least a decent job of affecting Stafford throughout this one. I wish they'd got him on the ground a little more, but there were definitely a couple of plays where he took a shot. It was a much better showing than the Jags game, that's for sure, and that's only on first watch. But I got to shout out my guy, Alfred Collins. Collins has had a really up and down start to his career, but he made the play of the game in this one. The Niners do not win this game without Alfred Collins taking his giant arm and perfectly punching the ball out of Kyren Williams' hands on the 1 yard line. You could not execute that play better, and you could not make that play in a bigger spot. It was a perfect punch. It was a perfect play, and Collins fell on the ball to recover it. That play changed the momentum so quickly in the 49ers' favor, and it changed the game for good. If Kyren had scored there, the Rams would have gone up 27-23, and that would have easily been enough to avoid overtime, in my opinion. Truly, not exaggerating, a game-saving and game-winning play for the rookie. Now, it wasn't all great for the Niners defense. Marquise Siegel and Upton Stout gave up a few big catches, but Travis Gibson flashed in this one, had a nice fumble recovery. CJ West looked pretty good with the club on his hand. And all in all, I'm going to give the defense a B+. There were so many huge plays down the stretch, and the defense was absolutely crucial in taking home the win. Now, finally, let's wrap up the show by talking about the special teams. When I tell you, I held my breath and I prayed to every God that I could think of whenever the 49ers special teams were on the field. I mean it. And it still wasn't enough. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. The Niners coverage unit was consistently giving room to the 30 and 35 yard lines. Thomas Morstead had some weirdly short punts, and the returners are a real issue. Sky Moore seems to make the wrong choice every single time he's back to return. He doesn't fair catch when he should. He lets the ball bounce when he shouldn't. He does fair catch when he shouldn't. It's just baffling to me. The Niners, they've got to get someone else in there. And what's crazy is Moore is their best returner because Isaac Guerendo's even worse. If a Rams fan ever tells you that this game was rigged, you should honestly probably listen to them because Isaac Guerendo fumbled a kickoff, the Rams picked it up and scored, and the refs just decided, we're good. Niners ball, no touchdown. And they didn't even review it. It was genuinely robbery. I'm sorry to any Rams fans that are still listening to the show. Isaac Guerendo, he is a train wreck at returner. I would literally rather just run Sky Moore out there and play with 10 men on the field. And don't forget, I was just calling for Moore to be replaced about a minute ago. So that should tell you how dire things are at returner. But with that said, I am still giving the special teams a B grade, which is pretty good because Eddie freaking Pinheiro might be the best player I've ever seen. Pinheiro went 4 for 4 and nailed both his extra points in this one. The whole point of Eddie Pinheiro was that he is automatic from under 50 yards. And you just have to move the ball enough to be in his range, and it's an automatic 3 points. But he sure made me sweat in overtime, man, when his 41-yard kick doinked off the upright and went in. The collective heart rate in SoFi Stadium during that kick had to be over 140 beats per minute. It was unbelievable. I still cannot believe that kick went in hours later after this game. And to send them to overtime in the first place, Pinheiro hit a 59-yarder in the fourth quarter. That's his new career-long kick, obviously. His previous was only 56, so he cleared his career high by 3 whole yards on Thursday. I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger upgrade than the one from Jake Moody to Eddie Pinheiro. I love Eddie P so much. He is carrying our special teams unit right now. But I do also have to shout out Jordan Elliott, who got his big paw up and blocked an extra point. And when you go to overtime, every single point matters. So without Jordan Elliott, Niners probably would not have won this game. Shout out to Jordan Elliott. Huge play for the 49ers special teams. This is exactly what we wanted. I asked for it in the preview. I said, can we get a blocked kick? And Elliott said, yes, Brady, I will block a kick for you. Thank you, Jordan Elliott. I hope I get your autograph someday or something. Also, shout out to Joshua Carty, who did not have his best game. Obviously, had the extra point blocked, missed a field goal, just straight up missed it, wide right, I believe. And that would have been a big one, obviously. Would have kept him out of overtime, probably. He did hit the kick to send them into overtime, but then he had a bit of a weird penalty trying to pull that knuckleball, right? Trying to pull that knuckleball. Sent it a little short of the landing zone. Niners were able to get the ball. I believe that was the Eddie Pinheiro 59-yard field goal drive. I'll have to double check that. But on one of the 49ers drives in, I believe, the second half, Joshua Carty did not get the ball into the landing zone, giving the 49ers the ball pretty far up, I believe on the 40-yard line. So thank you, Joshua Carty. Thank you, Jordan Elliott. Thank you, Eddie Pinheiro. And thank you for listening. That's all for this episode. Who are your top standouts from the 49ers in Week 5? I know that this is a bit of a quicker episode, but let me know if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. We'll have some more Rams content coming out next week. Probably go over the film, some of that, and then, of course, we'll get right back into the flow of things. As always, I'm Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you tomorrow.